Hi guys, happy Tuesday. Today I'm going to do your benchmark universe assignment with you. So I'm going to share my screen and we can get started. So you're going to start by going to Google Classroom. Okay, here we go. So I'm at Google Classroom now, and I'm going to go ahead and look at the question of the day just for fun to make sure I keep connecting. Tiny or tall Tuesday, would you rather be 8 inches tall or 8 feet tall? I already typed my answer. I already responded to some friends, to some classmates, and now I'm going to do my classwork. So your classwork's always under the classwork tab. ELA is what we're doing today, and let's follow the directions. It's the same one all week. Remember, you're going to work off the same slides. So it says open the slides below, open Benchmark Universe, and log in. Okay. Today, I am using Alexia's account. So thank you, Alexia, for letting us use your account. If anyone would like me to log in using their account, first I'm gonna go to my slides and find day 2. And I'm gonna find out what I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm supposed to read the San Francisco earthquake 1906 on pages 6 through 9. So I have to open that. So I'm gonna go to assignments, and I look at the dates. It's 4/21 today, so I'm going to click on that. I'm going to open my book. I know it said on page 6, so let's go to page 6 once we get it open. Okay, I'm at page 6 now, so I can go ahead and start reading. The San Francisco Earthquake 1906, an eyewitness account by Emma Burke. So I remembered that an eyewitness account is an account, a story from somebody that was there for the event. So was it my friend told me about this time that they were at this event, this earthquake, and now I'm telling you? Or is it my friend telling you about the earthquake they were at? So if you said it's about my friend telling you, that is right. An eyewitness account has to be the person who was there. So let's get started reading. At 5:12 a.m. on April 18, 1906, residents of San Francisco, California were jolted out of their beds by the first shock of a violent earthquake. More than a century later, this quake still ranks as one of the most significant geological events of all time. Emma M. Burke, who lived on Waller Street near Golden Gate Park at the time of the earthquake, published this account of her experiences that fateful day. So the story is going to be coming from Emma Burke, who was living in San Francisco at the time and experienced this earthquake. Now, I'm going to highlight, so on Benchmark Universe, you can use this tool right here and highlight information. So I'm going to start with this. At 5:12 on April 18th, 1906, they were awoken by the first shock of a violent earthquake. So I think that's really important to highlight because this was the time that the event happened, and I just think that's really important. So let's go ahead and start reading on paragraph 1. No one can comprehend the calamity to San Francisco in its entirety. The individual experience can probably give the general public the clearest idea. I was one of the fortunate ones, for neither personal injury nor death visited my household, but what I saw and felt I will try to give to you. It was 5:13 a.m., and my husband had arisen and lit the gas stove and put on the water to heat. He had closed our bedroom door so that I might enjoy one more nap. We were in a 4-story apartment flat, said to be built with unusual care. 12 flats so constructed occupied a corner 1 block from Golden Gate Park. All our rooms, 6 in number, opened into a square reception hall from which the stairs descended. So you can kind of picture where they're living. The shock came and hurled my bed against an opposite wall. I sprang up and, holding firmly to the footboard, managed to keep on my feet to the door. The shock was constantly growing heavier. Rumbles, crackling noises, and falling objects already commenced the din. The door refused to open. The earthquake had wedged it in the doorframe. My husband was pushing on the opposite side, and I pulled with all my strength when a twist of the building released it, and the door sprang open. We braced ourselves in the doorway. clinging to the casting. Our son appeared across the reception room, and my husband motioned him to stand in the door also, for fear of the chimney. Okay, the part that we just read, I think is very important. So in paragraph 6, it says that we braced ourselves in the doorway and they saw their son and they told him to get in the doorway too, because that's what they say to do during an earthquake. So I think that part's really important. Let's go on to paragraph 7. It grew constantly worse, the noise deafening, the crash of dishes, falling pictures, the rattle of the flat tin roof, bookcases being overturned, the piano hurled across the parlor, the groaning and straining of the building itself, broken glass and falling plaster, made such a roar that no one noise could be distinguished. So all these noises are happening that they can't pinpoint and say, that was the piano moving or that was the dishes falling. It's all just happening at one time. I think that's pretty important. So it grew constantly worse, the noise deafening. So I think the fact that the noise was so bad is a big point of what happens during earthquake. Okay, let's continue. Next page. We never knew when the chimney came tearing through. We never knew when a great marine picture weighing 125 pounds crashed down, not 8 feet away from us. We were frequently shaken loose from our hold on the door and only kept our feet by mutual help and our utmost efforts. The floor moved like short, choppy waves of the sea, crisscrossed by a tide as mighty as themselves. The ceiling responded to all the angles of the floor. I never expected to come out alive. I looked across the reception room at the white face of our son and thought to see the floors give way with him momentarily. How a building could stand such motion and keep its frame intact is still a mystery to me. So I think that it's important that the building was just swaying, but it still kept its frame. So they were still able to not just collapse. I think that's really important to understand that one, there was all that noise, but also there was all this destruction. It wasn't just the noise, it was under them. The floor was shaking. She thought her son was going to just collapse into the floor and she didn't expect to live. So I think that's really important. Paragraph 9. Stand in front of your clock and count off 48 seconds. And imagine this scene to have continued for that length of time, and you can get some idea of what one could suffer during that period. So 48 seconds, if you want to count it, you can. It's not a long time, but in that moment, I'm sure it felt very long, and things were destroyed in less than a minute. That's really crazy to think about. Paragraph 10. My husband told me to dress quickly and get down in our tortuous stairs to the street. I rushed to the window and saw my neighbor of the lower flat standing in the middle of the street in her nightclothes, clasping her little babe in her arms. I called to her and asked if I should fling out some bed clothing to wrap them in. She said her husband had gone into the house to get their clothes. The street was black with people, or rather white, for they were mostly in street undress. So street undress means that they were mostly in their night clothes, because think about it, this was 5 in the morning. Would you be up at 5 in the morning if you didn't have to be? So this happened to a lot of people while they were just waking up or they were still sleeping. So they're just in their pajamas. They weren't dressed yet. So I think this is very important that she saw her neighbors out there and that everyone was just in their pajamas. So she saw her neighbor. Those are really important facts and events that happened. Paragraph 11. Then I turned to dress myself. What a change in values. I had no thought for the dress I had cherished the day before. I was merely considering what was the warmest and most substantial, a coarse wool skirt and a long coat lined with white silk and highly decorated trimming. Did I choose the latter because it was pretty? No, indeed, but because it was warm and long. My diamonds and money were thrust into a hand satchel, and we hastily made our way to the street. So when she got dressed, she's saying that she no longer cared for the expensive dress or the cutest shirt or the most stylish pants. All she wanted was warmth and clothes that would get her through it, right? So her mindset really changed. She no longer cared about all of those things. She just cared about how the clothing would be the best for her, make her the safest or the warmest or would last the longest. So I think that's really important. So Then I turned to dress myself. What a change in values. I'm highlighting that just because I think it's really important for us to understand that she changed during this 48-second event. She did change. Okay, paragraph 12. After a half hour, we came up to our flat to take an inventory of this situation. I walked over the remains of my choicest china, porcelain, and cut glass without a feeling of regret or a sigh or tear. Everything seemed so insignificant in the world so far away. That is, the world we had lived in. All estimates of value were annihilated. Human life seemed the only thing worth consideration. Human life seemed the only thing worth consideration. That's another very important detail because it's telling us how things changed, how values changed during this very short event. All she cared about when she went back inside was that she had her husband, she had her son, and she was alive. Now that we're done, I want us to write a quick summary of this story so that way we really understand it. So if you go right here, you can click that and it will open up a note section. So we're gonna write our summary in that. We're okay. So that would be my summary of what happened, right? It's a little bit long, but we could cut some things out if we wanted to. I just thought that these were the most important parts. So I could easily tell somebody what happened in the story just by reading them my summary, right? I included the most important parts. Good. Now I'm going to go ahead and go to my slides. There are 2 questions here. What are the key details? So we went through and highlighted a lot of key details. And then also wants you to reread paragraph 11 when she talks about, then I turned to dress myself. What a change in values. Why is this statement significant? So why is this important? I talked a little bit about it with you. I want you to think about why is this important and explain it on number 2. Then, when you're done that, this question box, there's no wrong answer. As long as you're telling me which one you like better and why, don't forget why, explain your thinking, then you're right. Once you're done that, you did it. Woohoo, you're done. And then you'll come back again tomorrow for day 3. So I do want to just let you know in day 3, Earth Fast Changes, it is going to be a different book. So it's going to be this one that says Earth Fast Changes. And it says tomorrow's date. So date 4/22, you're going to click that and open that one and then use that book for this assignment on Wednesday and Thursday. And then on day 5, Friday, you're back to the other book. So if you have any questions, just let me know. And I'm so proud of all the work you've done so far. Keep it up. And I can't wait to see all your work on Friday. Bye.